Pepper Pratt is with us. He's with Utown. We had booked Pepper Pratt and Kelly Cash, and now you know how Pepper gets on shows.
That's it.
So I got Kelly Cash coming with. She's got the flu.
I think
Man.
her daughter
Okay.
had the flu, and they
It
just
is going
decided
around.
to share it in the family.
All right.
I
Well,
think.
Kelly's got a show coming up at the Ned, and we'll talk about the Patsy Cline show, and it's going to be next week. So we'll get you details of that. And we'll talk about that coming up in a minute. But Pepper Pratt is with us and wanted to talk about Youthtown and the work that he is doing there. Very, very important work in this. Youthtown has great history. Those of you that are listening to us from out of town, Youthtown has great history here. Started out as the Sheriff's Youth Town.
Yeah, 1962. And as a matter of fact, every sheriff in the state of Tennessee was on our board. Because all the sheriff's associations contributed about $1,000 to Youthtown every year.
To get it started, the motivation for that was to provide homes for children in foster care or trouble, or what was the deal?
There were some men out south that just had a reputation for helping families that needed help. If they had a child that they couldn't, take care of, these men were known as being able to take care of some of these kids.
Okay.
So at some point they decided we really need a home that does nothing but this.
Okay.
So they were able to put together a group, and there was some land that was donated or purchased, and I know Rotary Club was involved with us for a long time and built a lot of the homes that we have there on the campus.
Okay.
But in 1998 that shifted. The state of Tennessee, in their wisdom, decided foster care was a great idea. And they started putting more kids in foster
care.
Yeah.
Okay, so the state got involved with it.
It probably by the 80s, most of the kids that we had were in state custody.
Okay.
And then in 1998 was the first time I was at Youthtown, and we were shifting to more of a treatment model then, because they were moving a lot of these kids out into foster care. And I think the final evaluation of that is they're coming back to us as non-custodial kids because they didn't get some of the supervision and care that they needed when they were younger. So they wind up getting in a lot of trouble with alcohol and drugs. But that seems to be the central need of a lot of the kids, a lot of the families that are in trouble, is just addressing the alcohol and drug issues.
We'll talk about Youthtown and the important work. Pepper Pratt is with us. He's the executive director of Youthtown. One other thing, and let me move the microphone a little bit closer. One other thing, are you seeing opioid stuff? Is that penetrating the youth as we've seen it with the adult population? Because I know with mental health, that's becoming, and with adult treatment programs, then opioid addiction has become, and heroin addiction, all this stuff is back.
The answer,
I don't know if you see that, or if it's still a different pattern out there.
I think the answer is yes, but not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe I'm seeing more of the kids. Marijuana is still the drug of choice for most of the kids. That's still their gateway, and many of them are stretching out their their variety to other things. But I'm seeing a lot more of the opiates that are coming onto the scene. The thing for kids making the switch to using a needle is a pretty big deal. So I'm probably seeing a lot more prescription drug abuse in oxycodone and that kind of thing that's more in a pill form than I am the heroin. But we have seen it.
What do you want people to know about Youthtown as far as what you're doing and how you approach things?
Yeah, I want people to know that we are a alcohol and drug treatment model that comes at things from a Christ-centered perspective. That we want, our mission is to help any kid that needs help, and we are not quite in the position I'd like to be someday, but almost to alcohol and drug addiction treatment to what St. Jude is to cancer. As a matter of fact, alcohol and drug abuse among children kills more kids than cancer does. And it's just one of those epidemic type of social conditions that we have that Youthtown has stepped up to address. And Nick Pappas, my predecessor, had a vision for this, while it was still that group home for orphan kids, because he was seeing the families that were coming in, trying to get the kids back and get them home, and drug abuse was in the center of all of that. So for us to focus all of our efforts on addressing this epidemic issue is something that he saw in his wisdom to be able to do, and I couldn't agree more.
This is Blue Suede Forever inside the Dixie Cafe at the Old Country Store. We're talking with Pepper Pratt, who's the executive director of Youthtown of Tennessee, which has been in existence, he says, since 1962. Started out with the Sheriff's Association and has evolved as our family situation, state assistance, and lifestyle has changed in trying to meet the needs. How do children come to you? Are they referred by court, or parents contact you? Or
all of the above.
All of the above.
One of the things that I think a lot of families don't understand is that they need to intervene sooner rather than later.
Okay.
A kid gets caught for
Yeah. Our tendency is to go the other way. And
our tendency is to go the other way.
Yeah, well,
We've
okay.
got it.
Yeah, okay.
We're
Don't worry about-
we're gonna
okay.
ground them and take their cell phone, and
Right.
and then that's gonna change everything. And it does for some, but there are just a lot of others that that when the courts finally get involved, when they've gotten arrested for something, carried off in shackles, then mom and dad are like, okay, we've
Wow.
got something we need to deal with. And so a lot of the referrals come from probation officers, from the courts, because after that happens, they're on probation, they fail drug screens, those kinds of things, and they've tried outpatient counseling, and that they've continued to use drugs anyway. So either the judge or the court officer says to the family, it's time to get some help. If you don't get some help, this kid may wind up in state custody. So one of the wonderful things is we're this like last step intervention to keep kids out of state custody,
Okay.
and we're able to do that pretty effectively.
I saw some material from you just recently talking about the success rate, that 80% of the people that come through your program do not go back to juvenile or don't wind up in juvenile court.
Right,
again.
right, and we're
That's pretty
seeing
phenomenal.
we're seeing kids graduate from high school while they're there with us. We have the George Thomas Jr. Youth Academy, that's an in-house school that we
Okay.
have, that's a part of our program. And just in the last couple of months, we've had eight kids that have graduated from high school with a diploma,
Okay.
which is just really exciting. And as you can
Okay.
imagine, if your focus is acquiring and using drugs, then
Right.
school is not going to be your priority.
Right. And you've also started a program for young girls as well.
We have, in August of 2015.
Okay. And so we're talking to Pepper Pratt Youthtown and then the Eden program as well. I guess, and it goes, because I've worked on boards at Jacoa and still on at Asbel, and one thing that's almost instinctive in us is when people are getting into addiction issues or whatever, that our tendency is to try to protect them, and inadvertently we enable
Right.
people to
Right.
continue this until, in many cases, it is extreme. And I don't know how you overcome our instinct, right, as a husband or wife or brother or sister or parent or whatever, to go, okay, like I say, we can handle this, we can handle this, we can handle this. Oh my gosh, we can handle this,
Right.
And then we put it off until, but you'd hate to call time out too early, right? And I
Right.
don't know what you do. It's because, like I said, our instinct is to protect, but in doing so, we harm.
Yeah, and I think with kids, for a kid to go to treatment, the parent feels like it's an evaluation of their value
Okay.
as a
Okay,
parent,
okay.
which
That I'm exposing myself.
yeah,
Right,
I'm
wow.
I'm admitting that I haven't done
Okay.
I haven't done a good job, and that's not necessarily it at all. But I think families, just like individuals, have this moment of clarity where you didn't think it could get any worse, and all of a sudden
It
I
has.
mean, you see little Johnny being carried off in the back of a police car in shackles and
Right.
handcuffs,
Yeah.
and this is your child, and all of a sudden you realize, whoa, there
This
is a problem. This is a big deal.
Okay. How do you get funding? Do you have insurance patients? You get
Yeah, we do.
state or whatever, or you look for private donations? I guess-
It is pieced together.
Okay.
We spend about $50 to $65 per child per day more than what we get paid.
Okay.
So we get paid a minimum reimbursement from the insurance companies, and we have a lot of TennCare.
Okay.
We take commercial insurances too.
Okay.
So we have a kind of a minimum amount, and as you might guess, the insurance companies are going to see things a little differently than we do as far
Right.
as the need of how long they need to
They
stay,
stay,
and
yeah. That's
and
a
that kind
real
of thing.
struggle.
Yeah,
Because somebody's out there always saying, "Well, we can do this in 72 hours." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
that's right.
How about 72 days at minimum?" or
That's
whatever,
right.
I
And,
mean, just
and
not.
all the research shows that the longer you keep them, the more effective the
Effective
treatment
treatment
winds
is,
up being. But
So you have to supplement this.
yeah, so the supplement comes from fundraising. It comes from things like the 5K that we're doing. Our golf tournament is a big fundraiser for us, and then probably just relationships. Our community is so wonderful about somebody had a good year in business. They come to us and say, hey, we want to bless Youthtown.
Okay.
You guys do a great work, and
Okay.
and we want to help in some
Yeah.
kind of way. And that those are the heroes that we feel like are the ones that make the difference, that stand in the gap
Yeah.
for the kids.
When I talk to people about Jackson, Tennessee, because I wasn't born here and didn't intend to be here, I spent my adult life in West Tennessee. I talk about this city, and I said when you look back from the Cerebral Palsy Center or to the Kiwanis Center or to the Child Abuse Center or to any of these programs, I'm leaving out something, I'm sure out there, the Star Center, all these things,
Yeah.
that we have in this city, started things on our own initiative that sometimes, like you say, the government will come in later and say, okay, but when children couldn't be admitted to school and all those other things, we have stepped up.
Yeah.
in this town, people in this town have, and just led the way. Madison Haywood Development. I mean, for those that are classified with retardation issues, it's just been, it amazed me. Talking to Bob Smith, all these people down through the years that have just, I don't know, Johnny Parham, all these people I think of, and I'm leaving out many, 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 many that have done this. And the same thing with Youthtown. I mean, that it was an initiative of people to help address a need that has evolved, and so I'm encouraged by this. I talk about Jackson. There's something, a special spirit here. I think.
Well, and some of those names, for us, a lot of people would recognize Sam Watlington, George Kimes.
Yeah.
Brassfields
Yes.
have been involved with us over the years,
Yeah.
and I'm like you. I'm sure I'm going to
I'm leaving out people, but I mean, it's always been a part of this. So what do we got coming? We got some events coming up that we need to know about.
we have a 5K coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday.
And
okay.
I'm smiling as I'm telling you this because I just looked at the weather forecast.
Okay.
And I thought it couldn't get any worse because it was 90% chance of rain. Now it's a 100% chance of rain.
Okay.
But I did look at the details on that. It looks
Yeah.
like it's going to come later in the day. So we may be able to get it in. It's going to be at 11 o'clock on our campus in Pinson.
Okay.
And we, even if you haven't signed up, we'd love for you to just show up.
Okay.
Cost us $25. It's
All right.
Trail 5K.
Trail 5K.
Trail 5K.
Okay.
So I don't know that there are many of those around here.
so
Chickasaw or someplace like
so
that.
you run kind of through the
Yeah,
over the river and through the woods.
It's going to be exactly that. So we have a 25-acre lake on our campus, and lots of just pretty rolling hills.
All right.
And so there's, I know there are a lot of people who are training for half marathons that coming up. Nashville.
So that's a good way to do it. Okay.
This is a good way to get a good interval workout. And even if you're not a runner, if you want to just come out and have a really pretty hike on Saturday morning, just come join us. Get a race day tech shirt, goodie bags, and all that kind of thing that you get at 5Ks. Chick-fil-A is providing us with some chicken minis. So come for the food, if nothing else.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Right. So 11 o'clock. Registration starts at 10
o'clock.
10 o'clock. Yeah. And that'll be at the Youthtown this coming Saturday. We'll try to keep that one out in front of you, the 5K. And you got a golf tournament coming up.
Got a golf tournament coming up May 1st here at Jackson Country Club. And those teams usually fill up. And we're starting right now to be in contact with the ones that played last year. But if you have a team you'd like to put in, you can go to our website for either one of these two and register or put your team in. Youthtown.net.
Youthtown.net.
Just go to the events page and you can get registered.
Youthtown.net, and it is that is coming up. So we got the golf tournament and then the 5K coming up this weekend. And Kelly Cash has now joined the staff.
She has.
So she'll be coming to see you.
She will be if she's back to health by Saturday. I think she and her family are planning on doing the 5K. I know that, but she's got this event coming up at the Ned. She's really excited about.
Let me see if I can go ahead and talk for a second.
Well, I know
because
I know a little bit.
There.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah. I know that it's going to be a combination of some Patsy Cline and some Johnny Cash and a little bit of. Roy Cash too. I think. In fact, her dad's going to be there. He's going to sing. Yeah, he's going to sing. Her kids are going to sing. I don't think her husband Todd is going to sing, but I know that I think all three of her children are going to be there and will be a part of the show.
All right, that is coming up. We got a lot of things coming up that we'll talk about, but I've got it somewhere in this mass of stuff that we've got here, and it's coming up the 17th, right? Isn't it?
I believe that's right.
Yes, Kelly Cash and the West Tennessee Strangers. It's a Cash and Klein concert at the Ned. It's going to be March the 17th at 7:30. $20 tickets. Tickets are available at the Ned. You go to cityofjackson.net/the Ned and go to buy tickets or call 425-8397. 425-8397. Of course, she was Miss Tennessee in 1986 and Miss America in 1987 and is now on the staff at Youthtown. So she's responsible for capital fundraising.
She is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, she is. And she's going to take really good care of those that have donated to us and, just I think really allow them to continue to see what their funds are doing to help kids.
Okay. Youthtown.net.
Youthtown.net. Go to our events page, get registered for all of the above except for the Kelly Cash concert, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
Okay. Yeah, that is true. It's good to see you.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Pepper Pratt with us, and go to Youthtown.net, and it's just it's life-changing work. And the thing is, you never know the results of this, but when you change a life at that point or help influence a life at that point, it just dramatic forever. Right?
Well,
it changes generations.
Yeah, it absolutely changes
generations, and it's an effort worthwhile. I did an event recently for a celebration with the education system, and man, I started school 61 years ago, okay, but I still remember You know, Mrs. Reeves, Mrs. Yancey, Mrs. Flick, Mrs. Getta, Mrs. Mara, and Mrs. Mays. My first 6 teachers in school, and that's 6 decades. And it's like, and I'm thinking, that lingers, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It lingers.
It does.
I mean, and that's, you know, and that's what makes a difference in our life, people. And Youthtown's making a difference and has for generations in different ways. It's continuing to adapt to serve the children of today. And yes, circumstances are different. Fundamentally, we're probably the same. We just have access to a lot more, right?
Yeah. Well, it still comes down to faith, hope, and love.
Yeah, it sure does. All right.
Yep.
It's good to see you.
Thank you
Pepper-
very much.
Pepper Pratt with us, and appreciate you being with us. We're going to get back some music in a moment. Right now, we're moving through this
Has been
morning.
voted as the
This
Reader's
is Blue
Choice
Suede
Best
Forever.
Overall Japanese and Chinese Restaurant. That's because we use the highest quality produce, seafood, and fish. Asia Garden